In this episode, we'll take a look at a couple of LED lights that are made for mounting on top of your camera from a company called CELADON. First of all, this entire episode was shot with two CELADON LED panel lights. First is the 2XL Pro, which is right here in front of me. I can actually touch it. And it is facing a reflector, which is then bouncing the light back at me as our key light. And then the 2XL, which is back this way, is acting as a rim light. You'll see the light kind of wrapping around me here. What's the difference between the two? Well, first of all, the 2XL Pro has 160 SMD LEDs. These are surface mount device LEDs, which means they're mounted directly on the board. And they have a 120-degree beam angle, so it acts a little bit more like a floodlight. You can adjust the color temperature from 3200 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. In terms of light output, you get 875 lux when it's placed 1 meter away at 44 Kelvin. The 2XL is a little bit different. It has 280 traditional LED bulbs with a beam angle of 60 degrees, so it's a little bit more of a spotlight. You can adjust the color temperature from 3200 Kelvin to 5600 Kelvin, so from tungsten to daylight. And in terms of light output, you get 1400 lux, they claim, at 1 meter when it's set to 4400 Kelvin. Both lights include a padded nylon case with really nice high-density foam to protect the lights, clear and diffusion filters which slide into the front to provide a little bit of diffusion or just some protection, a fixed-angle cold shoe adapter, a ball joint cold shoe adapter, 2 Sony NPF-style batteries, dual battery charger, and an AC adapter for the charger. What we've done to compare the color here is we shot a color chart with each of the different lights, including a tungsten light for reference, and we did a custom white balance for each of the lights before we shot it, of course, and then we checked the vector scope here to see where the different color chips fall out. And what we would normally expect is that each of the color chips should fall on the different axes. So we have red, we have magenta, we have, all the different colors across the color wheel, and you can see here is the tungsten reference, and then what we're looking for is how much of a difference is there when you go to the 2XL and the 2XL Pro. So this is what we found. We did not find a large deviation, and in fact, to my eye, just from my subjective point of view, the color quality seems quite good. So I think that 95 CRI is probably pretty accurate. I'm pretty happy with the color quality here. Each of the lights comes with two 2200 milliamp batteries, so they're relatively small batteries, but we were able to get some pretty decent life out of them. For the 2XL Pro, we got 1 hour and 45 minutes when we set the unit to full power and daylight color. And then for the 2XL, we got 1 hour and 30 minutes set to full power, again to daylight color. The overall build quality is quite good. There is an aluminum part encasing the actual light itself, and then the control panel is a plastic piece with plastic knobs and a plastic switch. The knobs are plastic, but they are nicely damped, and the switch itself seems like a fairly sturdy plastic switch. So overall, I think for this price range, the build quality seems good. Now, the accessories that come with it, they are kind of, I guess, what you would expect in this price range. They're not the most amazing, but they'll do the job. You do have a fixed cold shoe mount that I found to be a little bit fiddly, and then you also have a ball cold shoe mount, and this one allows you to aim the light a little bit better. I prefer that one, and it does the job decently. The foot that fits into the shoe is metal, as is the knob that you tighten it down with, so that all seemed pretty good. I've used these before. They work okay. They're a little bit difficult to cinch down because the little twist knob here is a little bit on the small side, but they do the job. Flicker is a potential issue with LED lights, especially when you're shooting at higher shutter speeds. We did just a very basic test here, and we didn't run into any issues with flicker, so things are looking pretty good on that front as well. Now, our own practical tests of the light output showed something a little bit different and was kind of interesting. The SMD model, which is the 2XL Pro, actually seemed to have a little bit more light output. So at ISO 200 and a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second, we had an aperture of 2.8, which is our reading with our light meter here. And then the 2XL, which is the traditional LED bulb light, in that case, we got a little bit just under 2.8, so there wasn't quite as much light output, which was a little surprising because you have a wider beam angle with the SMD LEDs, but they appear to put out more light. So overall, I would probably choose the SMD model if I was going to use that, and in fact, I am using it here as my key light. It has a little bit more output, and if you aim it at a reflector like I've done here, it makes a beautiful soft light that works very nicely for keys. The 2XL with the traditional LED bulbs I think works very nicely for a rim light like we're using it here. You could also use that as a key light. And again, if you do mount these on your camera, you're going to get more power output, but it's going to have that look, that on-camera light look. So do you want to do that? I guess the question really is, what look do you want? I find this to be a much more flattering and kind of polished and professional look. But if you're doing news gathering type things, then putting it on the camera may be the best option because you're going to be working really fast. So you get a variety of options. The 2XL Pro comes in at $120 US as of May 2017. And the 2XL comes in at $100 US. And you do have a series of quarter 20 taps on both the top and the bottom, so you have some options in terms of how you want to mount it, whether that be on a stand, on top of the camera, or some other way. Not a huge issue, and one of the ways they kept the price down is they did not include any sort of screen or LED readout or anything like that, so the color temp is a little bit difficult to kind of dial in to an exact Kelvin temperature. So what you do have on the one end is 3200 Kelvin, and then depending on which light you have, it's either 5600 Kelvin or 6500 Kelvin. So just knowing that I think is generally going to be good enough for most cases. But if you are looking for something where you can dial it in specifically for whatever reason, then that would be nice to have, but it's not something you get with these lights. So which of these lights make more sense for the particular type of shooting you're doing? I actually like this kit of the two different lights. It works pretty nicely. Again, I'm using the SMD or the 2XL Pro. Right here is my key light aimed at a reflector to create this very, very soft lighting. And then the 2XL, which is the traditional LED bulbs, was really nice just because I could set it back here. It's a little bit more of a spot. I could get this rim light going, and that worked well as well. If I could only choose one, I'd probably choose the 2XL Pro, just because that way I get a little bit more light output and I can use it as a key here like I would here, either as a fill when I'm shooting outdoors or here indoors at a reflector to create a key light. So my overall summary on the CELADON 2XL and 2XL Pro, these are really great lights. I think they set their design priorities well, aiming for this price point. So it's a fairly affordable light. You get again, it's not a huge amount of output. Don't get me wrong. You can't overpower the sun with these things. They set their design priorities on color quality and the price. And as a secondary priority, I think they had some pretty decent build quality for what you're paying. So overall, I think those were really good design priorities. I think if you're working on a very tight budget and you need to make sure that you can get some light in there that's good quality in terms of the color it puts out, then I think these are some pretty good options. Hope that was helpful for you. Go ahead and leave any questions you have down below. And if you've not already subscribed, make sure you do that. And we'll be sure to get you more great videos on how to improve your lighting and sound for video. Talk to you soon.